For my digital story topic, I will be looking at why people choose equine therapy through a symbolic interactionalism approach. Tony Robinson says, "Horses change lives. They give our young people confidence and self-esteem. They provide peace and tranquility to troubled souls. They give us hope." It has been said that horses have eyes to one's soul, and as a horse owner myself, I believe this to be true. Horses have been domesticated for centuries and used for many reasons, such as combat, agriculture, transportation, and recreation. Though many recognized the therapeutic benefits of riding centuries ago, it wasn't until around the 1960s when horses were used for therapeutic means for the first time. Equine-assisted psychotherapy, also called equestrian therapy or horse therapy, is defined as a type of experimental health treatment that involves a person in therapy interacting with horses. Designed for people of all ages, equine therapy has been shown to treat a wide range of mental issues, addressing both physical and psychological concerns associated with a diagnosis. There are several variations of equine-assisted therapy in practice today, all of which have distinct guidelines, standards, and theoretical foundations that underline their mission. My personal love for horses aside, I chose this topic to find the answer to the following question. Why do people choose equine therapy specifically as their source of healing? What draws them to the horse? I used the symbolic interactionalist perspective for this particular study. Symbolic interactionalism was developed by George Herbert Mead and Charles Horton Cooley, the two men that you see on the screen. The idea behind this perspective is the use of symbols and the meanings that we attach to these symbols and how we use them to define relationships. Symbolic interactionalists analyze how social life depends on the ways we define ourselves and others. They study face-to-face interaction, examining how people make sense out of life and their place within it. To begin, let's look at how people view horses in our society. From the dawn of domestication until the arrival of the railroad and automobile, horses were viewed in a very utilitarian way. People depended on these animals for many aspects of their daily lives, such as travel, work, and commonly used in battle. They were not the pets that we see today. The way horses were trained was also very different. The old cowboy way of forcing horses into submission got fairly brutal at times. After all, a 200-pound man cannot outmuscle a 1,000-plus-pound horse that could easily kill you in one kick. The methods used for breaking or domesticating horses were much different than what we see today, and so was the relationship between the horse and rider. Today we see a relationship based off of mutual admiration and respect. Over the last few centuries, horses have become symbols of recreation, and since we don't rely on them for so many parts of our daily lives, they've been regarded in more of a majestic and elusive light. When I asked 15 non-horse people, both male and female, what they thought of horses, 11 of them gave me roughly the same answer. They are beautiful but scary, and a few of them used the word intimidating. The other 4 had little interest or opinion about the animal. So back to our main research question. If these animals are commonly regarded as scary or intimidating, why in the world would someone in a fragile physical or mental state choose equine therapy as their mode of therapy? Through much research from several different publications on equine therapy from both the perspective of the patient and the educated professionals, here's what I found out. Like human behavior, horse behavior can best be understood through observation. Horses are naturally prey animals, and as such, they've developed intense, unconditioned responses to threatening situations. Their instinct to a threatening situation is to flee, although they will stand their ground and defend themselves or their offspring if fleeing is not an option. This behavior parallels to the unconditioned and conditioned responses of humans who commonly seek to escape and avoid emotionally or physically threatening situations. Survival dictates that they exist as members of a herd who stick together and cooperate with one another, a socialization and adaptation strategy similar to that of humans. Within their herd, a social hierarchy or a pecking order is established through communal interaction and is based on avoidance strategies and survival contingent behaviors. In a parallel, metaphoric manner, many of the clients seen in equine-assisted therapy have already been thoroughly driven away from their human herd. The ability of horses to form a companionship attachments extends beyond their species to include us humans. Since their domestication, horses have been known to work in cooperation with humans. Mutual collaboration is based on natural curiosity and social bonds both present in the horse and the human. This natural relationship is the foundation for success that equine therapy has seen and the basis that draws participants to this sort of therapy. For someone suffering a physical handicap, especially one that restricts the mobility of their legs, equine therapy has proven to be considerably healing. Patients in this situation are drawn to this method of therapy because the horse gives them their legs back, so to speak. It gives them the opportunity to engage in a sport or a recreation where they can feel quote-unquote normal. It's a huge boost in their confidence. Here are just a few examples of success stories. Look at Amberly Snyder, for example. She was in a terrible car accident and paralyzed from the waist down. With a tremendous amount of training, she now competes on a professional level within the U.S. barrel racing circuits. When she's on her horse, she can race just like all of her peers. On the right, we have Brody Heron, a local Anchorage boy who suffered a stroke at the age of 2. By 2.5, he underwent brain surgery where they removed a portion of the right hemisphere of his brain, which was the source of his seizure disorder. After this surgery, Brody had to learn how to do everything all over again. Part of his therapy as he got older was assisted riding. The motion of the riding helped him understand his range of motion and gain control over his movements. And his newfound friendship with his equine partner gave him a tremendous boost in confidence. For people with non-physical ailments such as PTSD, victims of domestic violence, addicts, those battling depression, mood disorders, autism, Asperger's, and ADHD, equine therapy has shown significant rehabilitation results. Oftentimes, people in these situations have issues communicating, setting boundaries, trusting, or generally coping with their fears and feelings. With underlying issues such as these, they often have difficulties trusting another person enough to communicate properly in order to get the healing that they need, such as in a traditional therapist-patient situation. Women of domestic abuse or victims of sex trafficking often lack the confidence in themselves and they feel powerless. Horses are highly sensitive and intuitive animals. When working with a horse, a different type of communication breakthrough occurs. It's a nonverbal communication which instantly breaks down barriers for people who have issues communicating in the first place. Horses don't trust people innately. They are prey animals, which instinctively makes them leery of new people and new situations. People who are also struggling with such trust issues find a sort of kindred spirit with the horse. As they slowly begin to trust the horse begins to trust them. Confidence builds, and healing begins to take place. As the horse and patient work together, and they begin to trust each other, they also begin to test each other. As the horse starts to submit to the person, a newfound confidence is created, and an equal responsibility by the rider to do right by the horse takes place. Now the person is establishing the framework for a healthy relationship. More healing takes place, more confidence is built. You see, the horse doesn't care what your past is. He doesn't know what your past is. He doesn't judge you for what you've done or what's happened to you. He offers you a fresh start through a new pair of eyes. The people that are drawn to equine therapy not only are drawn to this type of therapy to fill the void of their herd, but often because they want to bypass the stigmas that society has placed on them. They don't want to be labeled the handicap or the drug addict or the victim. They want to be seen, loved, and respected. They don't want someone sitting there who knows everything that's happened in their past. The equine partnership offers all of those things. Once someone can establish that level of partnership with their equine friend, they are much more equipped to establish a healthy relationship. It's truly a beautiful journey. Thank you for viewing my digital story.